A quiet exodus. Why international tourists are disappearing from the U.S. Have you noticed something significant is happening in the U.S. in 2025, yet almost no one is talking about it? International tourists are quietly disappearing. The long, bustling lines at airports are gone, and a once vibrant tourism industry is growing cold. This isn't because of a loud public boycott, but rather a silent retreat of visitors from 6 key nations. The reasons are complex: stricter entry policies, economic uncertainty, and rising competition from new destinations. But above all, there's a fading sense of trust in America. Can you guess which countries they are? Some you might expect, but others will truly surprise you. And that final country may be the clearest sign of a new global travel order. 1. Canada. For decades, our oldest and most peaceful neighbor was a steady source of tourism. Millions of Canadians crossed the border each year for shopping, weekend getaways, sporting events, and family vacations. But over the last 2 years, things have changed dramatically. Since 2023, nearly half of all Canadians have reduced or cancelled their plans to visit the U.S. In border regions, the figure is even higher. Take Plattsburgh, New York. Before the downturn, nearly 40% of the city's weekend revenue came from Canadian visitors. Today, many shopping centers and hotels that once bustled with activity are now quiet. Local guides and hotel workers report they haven't seen a single tour group for months. In Buffalo, a local guide shared that his wife, who worked at a hotel, now takes shifts at a laundromat after being laid off. For many families, the income once tied to Canadian tourists has become precarious. So what's making Canadians so hesitant? It's not just the exchange rate. Many say crossing the border now feels more stressful, with stricter checks and longer wait times creating a sense of being unwelcome. For many, traveling to Europe or even within Canada is now seen as more convenient and less burdensome. As a result, northern New York towns are experiencing a quiet economic drain. Small businesses are shrinking, and jobs are disappearing. There are no headlines announcing this shift, but its effects are deep. 2. The United Kingdom. Florida, widely thought of as America's capital of entertainment, was once a favorite for British travelers. In 2019, more than 1.2 million tourists from the UK visited the state. By 2024, that number had fallen below 500,000, a devastating decline that has cut away more than half of one of the state's most important international markets. The impact is profound. Hotels around Orlando's theme parks report a 60% drop in international bookings. Restaurants that once served full English breakfasts daily now only open on weekends. Souvenir shops and tour services have shut down or reduced hours to survive. The international presence is clearly diminished. There's far less English chatter, and much of the revenue now depends on domestic tourists. Beyond currency rates, many British tourists say the American travel experience has become more stressful. Customs and immigration procedures are more intrusive, and the sense of being unwelcome lingers. Meanwhile, European destinations like Spain, Portugal, or Greece offer visa-free travel, lower costs, and a more relaxed experience. For Florida, this means more than lost revenue, it means losing a loyal customer base. Without a concrete strategy to make Florida attractive again to international visitors, particularly from the UK, recovery will be difficult. 3. South Korea. Hawaii, once the dream destination for millions of South Korean tourists, is witnessing a swift and quiet collapse in international tourism. Before the pandemic, South Koreans accounted for more than 20% of Hawaii's foreign visitor market. By 2024, the number of visitors had dropped by nearly 70%. Flights from Seoul have been cut or cancelled altogether. Many hotels in Honolulu operate at less than half capacity, and businesses that depended on Korean tourists have shortened hours, laid off staff, or closed entirely. The decline isn't just because of the pandemic. Korean travelers complain of high costs and complicated visa requirements. Some young couples say that for the price of a short trip to Hawaii, they can have a longer honeymoon in Southeast Asia. Compared to destinations like Thailand or Bali, Hawaii is increasingly seen as expensive and cumbersome. The consequences for the local economy are severe. A couple who worked as hotel housekeepers for more than 15 years now get shifts only 2 days a week. Tour buses sit empty, and souvenir shops remain closed. Hawaii was once a honeymoon paradise. Now, it stands as a stark example of how global perceptions and policy can devastate a local economy. 4. Germany. We now turn to Germany, one of America's most established European visitor markets. The decline is felt most deeply in Chicago, a hub of art and culture that once welcomed thousands of German travelers each year. Since 2023, the number of German visitors to Illinois has fallen by more than 50%. The drop isn't just in leisure travel. German companies have cancelled or relocated trade exhibitions once held in Chicago. Many hotels near the McCormick Place Convention Center record low bookings from German clients, forcing them to rely more on domestic guests. Why the drop? Several factors play a role, including rising costs and a weakened euro. But deeper still is the sense of not feeling respected or safe. Germans, known for their careful planning, now see Chicago as riskier than it is rewarding. News of violence in American cities, coupled with complicated visa and customs procedures, makes Chicago appear dangerous in their eyes. Many German families are replacing U.S. trips with journeys to Asia or Southern Europe, where costs are more manageable and the experience less stressful. Unless Chicago works to improve the international visitor experience and rebuild trust, the city risks losing not only tourism but also its global standing in the eyes of one of Europe's. 5. Australia. Now to the West Coast, specifically Las Vegas, Nevada, a former paradise for Australian travelers. Australians loved the city's energy and were among Nevada's highest-spending international visitors. Their presence once generated enormous revenue and supported tens of thousands of jobs. But the tide has turned. In 2024, Australian visitor numbers fell by more than 55%. Inside casinos and luxury malls, empty seats are everywhere. Shows that once sold out now fill only half the theater, and a major casino has even shut down its VIP section for lack of high rollers. Why are Australians avoiding Nevada? Many see Vegas as a money trap. Hidden resort fees, high tipping expectations, and stories of theft and scams circulating on Australian travel forums have tarnished the city's image. What was once seen as freedom and fun now feels like exploitation. Instead, travelers are choosing destinations like Tokyo and Seoul, which they perceive as cheaper, safer, and more refreshing. If Nevada wants Australians back, flashy advertising won't be enough. Honesty, genuine hospitality, and a renewed commitment to the visitor experience are essential. Vegas must prove that beyond the lights and gambling, it offers real value for Mon. 6. India. Finally, we turn to India, a country that once regarded New Jersey as the gateway to the American dream. For years, Indian students, doctors, and travelers played a vital role in supporting the state's universities and innovation centers. But this vital flow is slowing. In 2024, major hospitals in Newark reported a 25% drop in international medical internship applications, most of them from India. Applications from Indian students, historically the largest international student group, also declined significantly. This shift reflects not only academic concerns but also a cultural and economic unease. Indians worry about increasingly restrictive U.S. visa policies, soaring housing costs, and a social climate that feels cold and transactional. H-1B processing delays, doubled rents near university campuses, and reports of discrimination have led many families to reconsider. Instead of America, they are choosing Canada, Australia, or Europe, destinations perceived as more welcoming and secure. The consequences extend far beyond classrooms. Restaurants once filled with Indian students now sit empty. Research centers face shortages of skilled personnel. New Jersey is losing not only tourists and students but also potential long-term residents, doctors,